My name is Olivia Lewis, and I'm not the kind of woman who breaks easily. But at 6:45 a.m., sitting in my cozy Boston kitchen with my 2-year-old daughter, Lily, giggling over her oatmeal, I opened an email that hit me like a freight train. The subject line was cold, final, moving forward. My husband, Joseph, had attached divorce papers and a photo that made my stomach churn. There he was, arms slung around a smirking blonde, Chloe Bennett, barely 24, standing on the deck of our Bar Harbor beach house. The one I'd bought with every dime of profit from my company, Green Thread. The email's words burned into me. The house is mine now, Olivia. I've moved in with Chloe. Don't fight it, the deed's in my name. I sat there, coffee mug trembling in my hands, not from fear but from a fire igniting deep in my chest. Joseph thought he could dismantle our 6-year marriage with a single email, steal the beach house I'd paid for, and parade his new life with some influencer half my age. He thought I'd crumble, maybe cry, maybe beg. But he forgot who I am. I built a sustainable fashion empire from a laptop in my NYU dorm room, clawing my way up from a working-class family in South Boston. I don't fold, I fight. Lily babbled, tossing a spoon, her hazel eyes, so like Joseph's, sparkling with innocence. I glanced at the photo on the fridge, Joseph and me at our wedding, laughing like we'd conquered the world together. 6 years later, here I was, a millionaire who kept her wealth quiet, a mom who'd do anything for her kid, and a wife who'd been blindsided. Joseph had always seen my business as a cute hobby, even as it tripled in value since we met. He'd insisted on putting his name on the beach house deed for tax purposes, and I'd agreed, after my lawyer, Hannah, drew up ironclad documents proving I'd funded it. He had no idea what was coming. I took a deep breath, kissed Lily's forehead, and blocked Joseph's number. Then I typed a reply, "Sure about that, Joseph? Check the paperwork." I hit send, blocked his email, and turned to Lily, forcing a smile. "Mommy's got this, baby girl." Joseph underestimated me, always had. He saw the supportive wife who backed his corporate consulting career while building Green Thread into a disruptor in the fashion world. He thought I'd be too busy with diapers and deadlines to notice his lies. But I'd learned early, growing up in a neighborhood where trust was earned, not given, to protect what's mine. And I was about to remind him why you don't mess with a woman who knows her worth. Looking back, I should have seen the cracks in Joseph's facade. The signs were there, flickering like warning lights I was too busy to heed. 3 months ago, he started taking consulting trips to our Bar Harbor beach house, claiming he needed solitude to work on a high-stakes project for Pinnacle Brands, the retail giant where he was a rising star. I was juggling Green Thread's latest eco-friendly clothing line and Lily's first steps, so I let it slide. He'd come home distracted, glued to his phone, snapping at me when I asked about his work. "It's complicated, Olivia," he'd say, like I couldn't grasp his corporate world. The irony? I'd been quietly managing his investment portfolio for years, doubling his returns without him noticing. I grew up in South Boston, where my parents worked double shifts to keep the lights on. That taught me resilience, but also trust, too much trust maybe. When I met Joseph 6 years ago, I was already running Green Thread, selling handmade sustainable scarves online. He was a charming Yale grad, all polished confidence, telling everyone he'd helped my business grow. Truth is, Green Thread's success came from my late nights, my strategic partnerships, my hustle. The beach house was my dream, a sanctuary for Lily and me, paid for with Green Thread's profits. Joseph's name on the deed? A compromise I only agreed to because Hannah ensured my ownership was locked tight in legal documents. Now, holding Lily as she clutched her stuffed bunny, I felt those overlooked moments sting. Joseph's late nights in our home office, his sudden interest in my business files, his dismissal of my success as lucky. I'd been too wrapped up in motherhood and scaling my company to see he was unraveling our life. But as Lily's tiny hand squeezed mine, I knew this fight wasn't just for me, it was for her future, too. I carried Lily to my home office, her warmth grounding me as I opened my laptop. My fingers shook, not with fear but with purpose. I emailed Hannah the contracts proving I'd bought the beach house with Green Thread's funds, documents Joseph never bothered to read. Then I logged into the security system I'd installed at the property, a precaution he didn't know about. The cameras had recorded everything: Joseph's visits, his guests, his lies. The footage was a goldmine, and I wasn't done digging. My phone buzzed. Mia, my assistant, had sent a link to Chloe's Instagram. I scrolled, my heart sinking. Months of photos showed Chloe with Joseph at the beach house, in our bedroom, her wearing my silk robe, my pearl necklace, even my grandmother's sapphire ring, the one I'd promised Lily for her 18th birthday. One post, dated 9 months ago, showed Chloe holding a key to the beach house, captioned, "New home with my forever love." I was pregnant with Lily then, up all night with swollen ankles while Joseph was building a new life. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a calculated theft of our family's legacy. I hugged Lily tighter, her sleepy breath steadying me. Growing up, I'd watched my mom fight for every scrap of respect in a world that overlooked her. I swore I'd never let anyone take what I'd earned. Joseph thought he could erase me, but every post, every frame of footage, was another nail in his coffin. I whispered to Lily, "We're taking back what's ours, sweetheart." This wasn't just about a house, it was about protecting the life I'd built for us. My anger turned ice cold when I opened my banking app. Our joint account, where I'd stashed $150,000 for Lily's college fund, was empty. Joseph had transferred it all yesterday to an account I didn't recognize. My business accounts, thankfully, were locked down with separate banking and ironclad contracts I'd set up years ago, knowing Joseph's ego might one day turn against me. Growing up in South Boston, I learned to trust my gut, and mine had screamed to protect Green Thread from the start. I called my bank, then Hannah. Within an hour, we confirmed Joseph had been siphoning money for months, not just Lily's fund, but smaller amounts I hadn't noticed, totaling nearly $400,000. He tried hacking my business accounts too, but failed. Mia called while I was on with Hannah, her voice urgent. "Olivia, you need to see this." She sent screenshots from Chloe's private Facebook, where she bragged about landing a rich consultant and how they'd take his boring wife for everything. They mocked me, calling Green Thread a little eco shop too small to notice their scheme. Little did they know, Green Thread's sustainable model had made me a multimillionaire, quietly, because I never flaunted it. Joseph's mistake was underestimating me. He thought my focus on ethical fashion meant I was soft, not strategic. But I'd built Green Thread by outsmarting competitors like Pinnacle Brands, his employer. As I watched Lily nap in her playpen, her tiny fists curled, I felt my resolve harden. Joseph wasn't just stealing money, he was stealing our future. I wouldn't let him. Mia's next discovery hit harder than the empty bank account. She dug deeper into Chloe's social media and found a post linking her to Victor Bennett, Pinnacle Brands CEO, her uncle. This wasn't just an affair. Joseph had latched onto Chloe to secure a promotion to CFO, a role that would give him access to insider info to crush Green Thread, Pinnacle's biggest threat. My company's ethical practices, fair wages, eco-friendly materials, were eating into their profits, and they wanted me gone. Hannah uncovered emails between Joseph and Chloe, planning this for over a year. One from 6 months ago read, "Once I'm CFO, Uncle Victor will help us bury Olivia's little green empire." They'd plotted while I was nursing Lily, thinking I was too distracted to notice. I thought of my parents, who'd taught me to stand tall against anyone who tried to knock me down. This wasn't just personal betrayal, it was corporate warfare. Mia checked my home network and found Joseph had tried accessing Green Thread servers from our home office, where he'd spent countless nights working. He hadn't breached my security. My IT team was too good, but the attempts were proof of espionage. I stared at Lily, playing with her blocks, oblivious to the storm. Joseph thought he could outsmart me, but he'd forgotten I'd built Green Thread from nothing, outmaneuvering giants like Pinnacle. I turned to Hannah. "Let's hit them where it hurts." My voice was steady, but inside, I was a mother lion ready to protect her cub. Hannah and I worked like a war room, Lily napping upstairs under Mia's watch. We compiled evidence, contracts proving I'd funded the beach house, security footage of Joseph stealing my art collection, bought through Greenthread for tax purposes, and his emails admitting my business outshone his career. One email, sent to a friend 3 years ago, read, "Olivia's company is worth more than my salary." It's humiliating. His ego had blinded him, and I'd use it against him. My phone buzzed, an unknown number. Joseph's voice snarled through the speaker. "Think you're clever, Olivia?" My lawyers filed for an audit of Greenthread. "It's built on my connections. You'd be nothing without me." He laughed, saying Chloe was grateful and better with kids, hinting they'd fight for Lily. My blood ran cold, but Hannah slid her laptop over, showing another email from Joseph. "Olivia doesn't need my advice. Her company's bigger than mine now." Contradicting his own lies. I kept my voice calm. "Joseph, I just sent something to your lawyer. Check it before you threaten my daughter." I'd forwarded his damning email. "Call off your lawyers, or your boss gets the next one." Silence, then a click. Mia burst in, tablet in hand. "Olivia, look." A leaked press release announced Joseph's CFO promotion, effective tomorrow. It all clicked. The affair, the stolen money, the audit. He was tying up loose ends before his big leap, thinking he'd leave me in the dust. But I was already 3 steps ahead. Mia swiped to another bombshell. Chloe wasn't just Victor's niece. She was his pawn. Emails between her and Joseph revealed their plan to use his CFO role to leak Greenthread's strategies to Pinnacle, tanking my market share. Victor was in on it, promising to smooth the merger with my competitor. My company's ethical model threatened their profits, and they wanted it erased. I felt sick, remembering nights I'd rocked Lily to sleep while Joseph rifled through my files. I stared out my office window, Lily's laughter echoing from upstairs. Growing up, I'd seen my dad lose his job to corporate greed. I'd sworn Greenthread would be different, fair, sustainable, human. Now Joseph was trying to destroy it, not just to hurt me, but to clear the way for Pinnacle's dominance. Mia's voice broke my thoughts. "He tried hacking our servers again from the beach house." She showed logs of Joseph's failed attempts, each one more desperate. I turned to Hannah. "Draft an email to Pinnacle's board. Include Joseph's server hacks, the beach house thefts, and Victor's role in targeting Greenthread. Attach my insurance file, password, Lily's birthday." That file held years of dirt on Pinnacle's shady deals, collected while managing Joseph's investments. I'd kept it as a safeguard, never dreaming I'd need it. As Hannah typed, I watched Lily stack her blocks, each one a tiny act of defiance. Joseph thought he'd outplayed me, but he'd forgotten the first rule of South Boston: never bet against someone who's fought for everything. My phone pinged with a beach house security alert. Joseph was back, with Chloe and Victor, carrying boxes, more of my belongings, no doubt. I pulled up the live feed, audio crisp thanks to cameras Joseph didn't know existed. They were in the living room, champagne flutes raised. Victor toasted to our new CFO and my brilliant niece, who made this happen. Joseph smirked. "Tomorrow, the board announces my promotion. By afternoon, our lawyers will control Greenthread's accounts. Olivia's done." Chloe giggled. "She's worried about the beach house, not the offshore accounts." My heart stopped. Mia, already on her laptop, found them $400,000 Joseph had funneled from our accounts, not just Lily's college fund. Victor's next words chilled me. "Once Greenthread collapses, our merger sails through." Her do-gooder models history. My company wasn't just a business, it was my fight against the greed I'd seen growing up. They wanted it gone. I nodded to Hannah. "Send the email." She attached everything: footage of Joseph stealing, his emails, server hack logs, and my insurance file exposing Pinnacle's fraud. As we hit send, I watched the feed. Joseph excused himself to the office, typing furiously, another hack attempt. My IT team had set a trap, letting him think he'd breached our servers. I leaned back, holding Lily's stuffed bunny. They were toasting their victory, but in minutes, their world would collapse. I whispered to the screen, "You picked the wrong woman to underestimate." The board's response was lightning fast. Through the beach house feed, we watched Victor's phone ring. His face paled as he shouted, "What evidence?" "Who sent it?" Joseph checked his email, his smug grin vanishing. "She knew I was accessing her servers," he muttered. Chloe's phone erupted with notifications. Her private messages, bragging about corporate espionage, had been leaked to the board. Her mascara streaked as she sobbed. Then, police cars rolled up, lights flashing. Corporate espionage and fraud weren't just boardroom sins, they were crimes. I held Lily close, her warmth anchoring me as we watched Joseph led out in handcuffs, yelling about his house. Victor followed, head down, Chloe trailing in tears. Growing up, I'd seen justice delayed for people like my parents, but not today. The board's investigation snowballed, uncovering Pinnacle's years of fraud beyond what I'd sent. Joseph's promotion was scrapped, Victor was fired, and Chloe's influencer dreams sank. Last I heard, she was back in Manhattan, living off her parents. The offshore accounts were frozen, every dollar returned with interest. The beach house deed was corrected to my name, where it belonged. Joseph's emails begging forgiveness went unanswered. His espionage charges barred him from finance forever. I sat on the beach house deck that night, Lily asleep upstairs, the ocean whispering peace. I'd fought for my daughter, my company, my life, and won. Joseph's email, now framed in my office, wasn't his victory. It was mine. Green threads soared after the scandal. Investors, drawn to our integrity, poured in, and we expanded into markets Pinnacle once ruled. Lily and I made the Bar Harbor Beach House our sanctuary, building sandcastles where Joseph's lies once stood. Each wave crashing on the shore felt like a promise. No one would take what I'd built again. I kept Joseph's email framed in my office, not out of spite, but as a reminder. Growing up in South Boston, I learned that the world doesn't hand you justice, you fight for it. And I did, for Lily, for me, for every woman who's been underestimated. Sometimes, I sit on the deck, watching Lily chase seagulls, her laughter louder than the ocean. I think of Joseph's smug photo, his belief he'd outsmarted me. He didn't know the girl from Southie who'd turned a dorm room dream into a multi-million-dollar empire. He didn't know the mom who'd protect her daughter's future with every ounce of her strength. That email wasn't his triumph, it was the spark that lit my fire. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through betrayal, battles, and victories. If my story moved you, hit that subscribe button and join us. Every fight, every win, every moment of standing tall tells a story of grit and heart.